Hey guys, how's it going? So this video is a little late, but in case you couldn't tell, my upload schedule's been kinda everywhere the last month or two, just because I've been a little busy. But yeah, we're finally getting around to it, the 400 subscriber Q&A. I know a lot of you have been asking for it, so we're finally getting around to it. So I apologize for it being so long, but yeah, here we go. Our first question today comes from SpiderSkulls52, and he says, "We will always support you, men." Thank you. Also, my friend asks, what made you want to use Aizawa, and who are the top tier supports for him? Well, there are a couple of reasons I chose Aizawa. One of the main ones being he's in my top 3 favorite characters, alongside Tamaki and Nezu. But it was also a thing of, at the time, everybody was just playing the same characters. It was your 100%, your Bakugos, your Overhauls, your Overhaul V2s, and that's pretty much all you'd run into. And it got a little boring. Like, I tried playing them, they were fun, but mirror matches with them, some of them just aren't that fun, to be honest. So I decided to start using Aizawa, find out he was really fun, and then I just went from there. Sadly, back then, there was no tech discovered for Aizawa, so I kinda had to find it all, and it wasn't too hard, but hell, today, I still believe there are some things that Aizawa can do that nobody knows about. But I feel like it's like that with a lot of characters. And as for assists for Aizawa, my go-to assists right now are Nejire and Night Eye. Before them, it was Jiro and Orca, because they work very well with Aizawa. Kinda sucks that they nerfed Jiro's cooldown. Like, you can still use her with Aizawa, but it's not worth it at this point. But other assists you can use with him are Kirishima, Mr. Compress, Rappa, Kendo, Midnight, Overhaul V2, and Denki, but his damage does scale with his assist, so it's kind of hit or miss. I'm sure there are others, but these are the few I can think of from the top of my head. Our next question comes from Nyan Doxy, and they say, "I'm so happy for you." Thank you. I have a few questions. Number 1, where did your username come from? Number 2, who is your favorite villain in MHA? And 3, when's the ASMR video coming out? So I'll answer the third one straight away, never. I'm never making an ASMR video. But for the first question, surpriser guys, it's not a Spider-Man reference, as everybody keeps pointing out, like, oh look, it's a Spider-Man reference. No, it's not a Spider-Man reference. My name actually came from an old card game. So in like 2006, 2007, there was this really fun card game called Chaotic. And there was a website for it, it was a trading card game. It was cool, there'd be codes on the cards, you scan the codes, then you'd have them cards on the website, you could use them to battle other people. It was such a fun game, but sadly it got shut down. But before it got shut down, I used to spend pretty much all day, every day on this website, playing Chaotic against other people, and it was so fun. But we didn't have a computer at the time, so if I wanted to play this game, I'd have to go to the library and use the computers there, which I did, so I was in the library pretty much all the time. And when I signed up with my first account, I just used one of the names it gave me, and it was like Shining Maxor being a monster from the card game. And all was good, but I never really liked the name. But then one day I was playing the game, and the woman who worked in the library came up to me and she was like, "Oh boy, you're always in here, you're such a webhead, aren't you?" And then she said that and I was like, huh, webhead. I kind of like that, has a nice ring to it. So then I made a new account, went by Webhead1998, and just sort of went from there. And for favorite villains, I don't really have a favorite villains, but I have villains that I prefer to other ones. So Stain, All for One, Chronostasis, Darby. Like, as much as I hate Darby in the game, I love him in the anime. I think he is such an interesting character, and I can't wait to see what they do with him in Season 6, since the War arc is coming up. Our next question comes from Femc, and they ask, 1, when the OJ2 content slows down, presumably after the DLC wave, will you stick with the game, or do you plan on expanding to new things? Number 2, if MHA got a game that wasn't a fighter, what game/style would you want it to be? Number 3, is there any anime or manga you enjoy that you'd want to see turned into a game? If so, why and what genre? And number 4, this isn't a question, I just wanted to tell you congrats on channel growth, and you really deserve it, man. Aw, thanks Femc. So to answer the first question, do I plan on slowing down or changing after the final DLC comes out, which it has? No, not really. Like, my thing with OJ is I genuinely love the game. Like, it has its flaws like every game, but it is so fun. And as long as I keep getting ideas for videos, I'll keep making the videos. Like, I do get ideas for other videos of other games, but a majority of my ideas are OJ related and wouldn't really work with other videos. So I do plan on making more videos on other games eventually, but a majority of the videos I make will still be One's Justice 2 related. And hopefully when the third game comes out, if it does, OJ3 related. For the second question, if MHA got a game that wasn't a fighter, what would I want it to be? I'd probably want it to be an action adventure, kind of like with what they did with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, because DBZ Kakarot is a phenomenal game. It is one of the best Dragon Ball games that have ever been made. And I know there's technically fighting in the game, but it's more of a story-driven game as opposed to, hey, go here, beat this guy. Oh, go here and beat up this guy to go up this tower and you know, like every other generic fighting game. It's got personality, and it's one of them games you can go back to and play whenever you want. And if they ever did that with MHA, I potentially think it could be better than One's Justice 2, if done right. And for the third question, if there's any anime or manga I'd like to see turned into a game, I would love if they turned ReZero into a 3D arena fighter. I think it has potential to be such a good game, because there's such a diverse cast of characters that could all have their own unique playstyles. Like, think, you could have Subaru, he could use his shadow magic, and hand-to-hand that we've seen him use in the anime many times. You could have people like Rem, who uses her mace and a mix of her mace and magic for combat. You've got Amelia, who could just be a pure magic character. You've got characters like Reinhardt, who could be just a pure swordsman. Genuinely, I think it could be such a good idea if done right and if they got the right developers and all that stuff. Our next question comes from Procrastinate, and he asks, who do you think will be the last DLC character? I personally think Miss Joke or Redestro. I'm kinda late to this one, but we kinda know it's Aoyama now, but before that, I thought it was going to be Miss Joke as well, since every character in the DLC so far had something to do with Aizawa. Next question, VXQCU asks, least favorite player to go against, and 3 characters you'd want them to add. I don't really have a player, but it would probably just be anybody playing Overhaul V1. Since his super boring optimal tech was found, he's just not fun to fight at all anymore. Like, you know, if you're fighting an Overhaul V1, they're either just a boring person or they're just a tryhard. And for 3 characters I want them to add, easy. It would be Edgeshot, Bubble Girl, and Chronostasis. I think they would be such good additions to the game, if done right, but Biking are usually pretty good when it comes to the quirk uniqueness, so I think they could pull it off. Jan Vega Martinez asks, do you think we're going to get a My Hero One's Justice 3? Yes. 100% we're getting a One's Justice 3. Okay, hear me out. One's Justice 1, garbage. Didn't really sell that well. They abandoned it after 18 days of launch, and that was that. One's Justice 2 comes out, and it's a hit. Everybody loves playing the game. If you love it or you hate it, you play the game because it's fun and addictive. But also, the game sold very well, and you can tell that just because of how much DLC they've released for this game. If it was just going to be a simple cash grab like the first game, they'd release all the characters and they just have abandoned it, but they've actually kind of stuck with this game. I don't know if they will now that Aoyama's out, but I definitely think there will be a third game. Budget123 asks, who is your favorite UA student? Who is your favorite pro hero? Who's your favorite villain? And who's your least favorite in the whole series? Besides Mineta, obviously. Favorite student is Tamaki. I love Tamaki. I think he's such an interesting, fun character, and his quirk could be overpowered if used right. Favorite pro hero is Aizawa, obviously. His quirk is amazing. I love it. Even though he's like the Batman character if you think about it. He doesn't really have a strength or physical power. It's just he can stop other people using theirs. My favorite villain, like I said before, would probably be All For One, Darby, Stain, or whoever. And least favorite character would probably be Mirko. I think she's overhyped and just not that good, in my opinion. Kirito asks, do you think this game will die now that Aoyama's been released? No, I don't think it will. People stuck with OJ1 for 2 years, and that game is not the best. it's just, it's not that good. But people stuck with that because they loved the idea of the game, so they stuck with it. Once Justice 2 comes out, it has a lot more to offer, and mechanically it's better than the first game, so I think people will stick with it until the third game comes out. And hell, even when the third game comes out, I think for like the first 2-3 months, people will still play the second one until it finally slowly dies off. Globku asks, what non-anime games do you enjoy? I doubt this is the real Globku, but thanks anyway. Aside from fighting games, the other big genre I like is RPGs, so games like Fallout 4, Final Fantasy X is my favorite one, Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is a phenomenal game, and if you love RPGs, I highly suggest you play it. And Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was one of the first RPGs I ever played, and to this day I still think it holds up as a really good game. Code Ninja asks, who's your favorite OJ content creator? I see what you're doing there, Code. I see what you're doing. My favorite OJ creator would probably be a guy called Doesn't Access. He does like hypotheticals, like, oh, if this character was added into One's Justice 2, how would they work? And I think that is a genius idea, and it's really entertaining to watch. So if you haven't already, go subscribe to Doesn't Access, because he deserves way more subs than he actually has. Bernard is here asks, favorite video game besides OJ? By the way, love your vids. Thank you, man. I mean, like I said before, probably Final Fantasy X. Like, that game, I know this is gonna sound really cringe, but that game changed my life. Like, that game made me see video games as more than just video games and as art. God, this is so cringe, I'm sorry. Sen Kaibara asks, who's your favorite Class 1B character in the series? Probably the Vine Girl, what's her name? Shiozaki. Yeah, Shiozaki. I think she's awesome. Her quirk is unique, it's cool, she has a fun personality, it's cool. Victor Sanchez asks, do fish breathe or drink the water? Well, according to Google, they do both. So they breathe in the water to get the oxygen from the water and then filter that into their bodies or something. And our final questions come from Alexander24, and he asks, why do you main Aizawa? Who is your favorite OJ2 player? Who is your least favorite OJ2 player? Who is your least favorite character to fight against? And who are the 3 characters you would like to see in Season 3 of DLCs or OJ3? The reason I main Aizawa, I just like how his quirk works. I like the fact that with one attack, I can cut off my opponent from half of their moveset. It's only for 5.5 seconds, but, you know, it makes them think, oh, what do I do now? Do I run away? Do I attack? Is he gonna do the move again? You know, it keeps them on their toes and thinking. Who's your favorite OJ2 player? I'd probably have to say Morgana. Morgana's strong, he's always fun to fight against, and I've learned a lot from fighting him. I genuinely wouldn't be the player I am today without all the matches we've had in the past. Least favorite OJ2 player? I can't really think of one from the top of my head, because I just don't like the way they play characters as opposed to the player themselves, but I guess I'd probably have to say Will the Great. Who is your least favorite character to fight against? Midnight. Easy, Midnight. All day, every day, Midnight. Her sleep mechanic is just too good and has no right to be as OP as it actually is. Like, if it didn't affect you on block and Just Guard, then it'd be fine. She'd just be like every other character, a slight annoyance, but easy to deal with. But the fact that the only thing you can do is run away is just not fun to fight against, in my opinion. And for 3 characters I'd like to see added in the 3rd game or 3rd season pass, whatever comes first. So Chronostasis first, because I think he is so cool and he was underused in Season 4. Shiozaki, the Vine Girl, I think she could be really unique and fun to play too. And the, I don't know his name, but it's the snow guy from Season 5. He's got like the snow coat on and he's got like all the ice powers. I think he would be so cool in One's Justice 2. I don't know his name, but he would be awesome. And that's the end of the Q&A. Thank you for 400 subs. I genuinely appreciate it so much. Thank you for all the questions, and here's to another 400 subs. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.